that again, the local consumer is going to drive what's right in their counties, in their cities, in their areas, and the guy or gal who's in charge in Albany facilitates that. Facilitates the local people, and most importantly, facilitates transparency. Transparency, so if the local people try to become bullies, everyone can see and we can protect them. And also locals begin to fail, they can see what others are doing so they can find out what's working, and the ones who see what's failing cannot copy that. As long as the person who's in Albany facilitates transparency, this is perfectly viable and important and is the future.
Right, and that's freaking, again, just beautiful. And you know, there's a lot of, it happens so often, you know, that you know, you can't ignore it.
But this is already happening in Google right now. You remember Google had this years ago. Google allowed a bunch of their people to use up to 20% of their work week, to do whatever they wanted. The only rule was you had to tell people what you did, your team knew what you did the next week. Transparency. To tell them what they did next week. Now, they had failures, people who had worked on things that didn't really work well. However, they gave people the freedom, do whatever you want. People found new ideas, and the most profitable apps that Google came up with were people who came up during that time. And now people can copy. I want the same thing to happen in New York State. I want counties to be able to not have these mandates that are put on them from the state and from the nation, so that they can experiment and figure out what works best, cut and paste. And some counties may fail, that could happen. But if it's transparent, others will see it and be able to help and fix and not copy. And some will have massive success, others can copy. But Larry, what happens that one county fails? All our counties are failing now. We have 100,000 New Yorkers leaving our state every single year, walking away. Here's the worst part though. New York City, its population is the same or getting bigger, which means all the 100,000 is coming from Western New York, Central New York, the Southern Tier, Upstate, Capital Region, North Country. It's coming from those areas. It's not coming from the downstate. It's coming from up here. We actually have youth flight. The young are leaving. If you know anyone in your life who's young, they get educated and they leave. Well, they don't get educated here. They leave. That's why our farmers are now over 55. That's right. That's a problem. I want them to stay. Cannabis and hemp is cool and new. If we let that work in our state, the young will stay. Because it's cool. It's new. There's opportunity. They can figure things out.
And they're not stupid. They're on the internet every day. I mean, they're on the internet more than we ever were. They've been born with the internet in their hand. You know, most of them come out with a phone. And or no, or by the two years old can use my iPhone better than I ever can. You know, but so, I mean, honestly, they're on there. You don't think they see this stuff and whatever else? Listen, the kids that are shooting these schools up aren't smoking pot. They're taking psychotropic medications that are being shoved down their throat, okay? They're you're taking a drug whose side effect is to have this happen. And we approve it and we're okay with it and this, that, and the other thing. Like Larry's saying, this is how a lot of this starts, unfortunately. Is that it starts with an injury of an early kid. Heck, we're making chewable Percocet at 10 milligrams tablets. When I was a kid, oh man,
I didn't want to hear that.
Oh yeah, that's been 6, 7 months, 8 years. When I was young, you broke your leg, you got up, they said, walk it off, come on, you know, and you got aspirin, you got something. You know what I mean? You know, this is what we did. You know, we were a tougher society. You know, a boo-boo didn't equate to shoving something in your mouth.
Oh, mommy just had to kiss it.
Right, exactly. Mommy kissed your boo-boo, and on you went. Your dad told you get up, and walk it off. You know, and you did. And you know.
Chewable Percocet still bothering me.
No, it's chewable 10 milligram Percocet. But this then again goes to show that suburban person that they were talking about, saying if we introduce, oh my God, if we let people grow cannabis, we're going to bring in crime. You don't understand. The kids are selling your pills all over your neighborhood anyway. You got more crime in your neighborhood right now than you're ever going to have with the dude that's growing a weed plant.
And it's funny they actually say that. I don't want drugs in the neighborhood. They're in your neighborhood now.
Oh, Christmas sakes, if anybody knows
it, cabinet, they're already there.
If anybody knows anybody that knows anybody that knows anybody that knows anybody that grows cannabis, and this is even out west, they don't tell people. You don't spread your stuff around. Everybody knows everybody grows, but nobody cares. Nobody pays attention. Again, culture. Let's have hemp farms. And let's take school children and their parents so they can walk and feel the plant and realize it's not poison ivy. They're not going to break out in a rash. You know, let's do things like this. here again, you know, we set the farmer up. The farmer has something. Plus, we're educating them properly. The hell with dare and telling you that it's the devil's lettuce and you're going to kill your parents. And I mean, come on. This is marijuana.
Lettuce.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. You know, okay, you made up what you were
Are you
saying.
saying?
Now
you can think of
But serious, and you know, they're taught all these horrible things, but
They
they're not
are.
talking about, you know, mom sitting there having a Xanax buzz, you know, that can't keep her eyes open, you know, that's nodding her head, and driving you to school, mind you, because she can do that in these carpools.
Yeah.
Carpools, now you got somebody else's kid. And you know, and what do? They go to lunch while they're waiting, trade their pills at the table, and go on home. We got to stop doing that. I mean, God almighty, like he's saying, safe injection sites, maybe they have some value. Me personally, it just pisses me off that somebody can go somewhere with the most illegal drug in the
But
fucking
it
world
pisses me off
and not
that-
be arrested. But if I walked
Right.
up with a fucking
Right.
joint, excuse my language, if I walked up with a joint, they'd be slapping the cuffs on me or handing me a ticket. Now, good. It may help the addict. It also may help the addict to sit back and say, well, I got a safe place to OD. They're going to bring me back. We're hoping that that's not what they're used for. But the point being is you can go to these places with heroin. You can't go with weed.
They're doing it already. If you see addicts who are afraid of overdosing, they literally go to the emergency room and shoot up.
Right. So that if they
So
do
they're
go,
right there.
They're right there.
Mhm.
So that's already happening.
That's already
The
happening.
difference is in the emergency room,
Wow.
no one's there to help them.
Right.
If they go to a center, literally, it will be staffed
Right.
with former users.
Mhm.
It will be staffed with people who want to help them. Not just that. How about, and anyone who's had an addict in your life, you know one thing you have trouble with, finding out where they are.
Yes.
You can't physically find them.
Right.
But if you actually have a place where they go, you can go see your loved one.
Mhm.
You can say, hey, I know Jimmy's going to be here because he shoots up here.
Mhm.
You can go to see Jimmy.
Mhm.
You can talk to Jimmy.
Mhm.
You can see if you can talk Jimmy off the ledge. You can let him know people love him, that he's not worthless.
There
You can
introduces
do
the
those
person back
things.
into it. Right. There's
Yes.
the person.
Yeah.
There's
You
the
can
person.
say there are 3 people here who will help you.
Right.
We will get you off this drug. When Jimmy's all by himself, just trying to beg so he can get enough money for his next shoot up, he feels like he's worthless. He feels like no one loves him. That's what he believes. Why wouldn't you stay high?
Yeah, right.
Why wouldn't you? But if you go to that place, you can find your loved one. But there's a problem or issue. How many people have known someone like this who's been so high for so long, they literally missed people die and
Oh yeah.
die.
Oh yeah.
Yes, they
Missed weeks of their life and don't even know where they're
Gone.
Yeah.
If they go to this site and grandma's ill, you can go there and say, Jimmy, grandma's ill.
Yeah.
Can you clean up for a couple of days and go see grandma before she dies?
Mm.
That might be what turns Jimmy's life around.
Right.
These emotional, and again, if you've been around addicts, traumatic emotional issues is what changes people.
These
What?
models have worked. These
Right.
mirror models have worked. If
They
you just
work
look
already.
look up north to Canada. I mean, Ottawa and stuff, and they've really eradicated a lot of stuff. And but then you look to Canada too, and they're the only goddamn country in the union that cannabis is legal in. So you know, leave it to the Canadians to be first for something. But hey, man, they're doing great things up there, and I follow a lot of stuff that goes on there too. A lot of great people have come from Canada that have trees that have Steve Covey, just for one. Steve cured incurable cancer with skunkweed, and now he cryogenically has a company where he cryogenically extracts from cannabis, so there's no solvent. So I mean, there's so much in the industry
And that's what we
that's
teach in the
unaware. That we're so unaware to and not privy to. But this is what we say. We decriminalize the schedule. We can bring those things here. We can do the
Right.
testings here. We can allow our universities. You want to fund universities? Fine. Let's fund universities and let them go. Not like in Reno and when, what was her name? I forget. But she was one of the biggest pioneers of PTSD in soldiers. And she was finding that cannabis had great.
Yes.
She was working at UNLV. That's where she was. And she was set up and they stopped federally funding her, because her reports were claiming that too positive.
Yeah.
They weren't giving her the negative that they were looking for. You know, she couldn't produce the negative. And when she couldn't produce the negative, they said, sorry, then we're no longer going to fund you.
Well, this goes back to what you talked about. I don't want us lobbying the government for licensing, lobbying the government for who can and who cannot sell.
Right,
Once we do that, that means things will only change when lobbyists ask them to change.
right.
If we just decriminalize, what will happen is the industry will regulate itself and
That's right.
standardize itself, and it will change as science changes.
Yes.
Right? As information comes in, as science comes in, the standards will change. Again, how do I know that? Health food stores. Health food stores change all the time. As new data comes in, there are new blends, new things change. Some things come off the market, some come back on the market, right? These things begin to shift and change. But when it comes to anything else, they only change when people lobby for them to be changed. So we could be working through, and this is a perfect example of cannabis being a stage 1 drug, because no one has lobbied, the right people haven't lobbied for it to come off.
Right.
And that's the only time regulations change.
And as he's saying, even truly, in health food stores, like he's saying, they're ever evolving, ever changing. But you always never know what you do if you've been noticed. As they're evolving and changing, they're literally going backwards. Ancient grains are what's important, So if we're going backwards and thinking of what we used to ingest that was healthy, cannabis, my lord, was ingested by people all the time for tens of thousands. I mean, let's go back to the Chinese, that started this. And mind you, a lot of things that they did weren't internal medicine. They were topicals. They were things that helped them with their skin. They were things that helped them with burns, with cuts, with infection. Cannabis has a wide variety of ways that we could treat. Again, opening up privatization, we have to make these products be able to be available within our dispensaries. We shouldn't have to just walk into a dispensary and have a glycerin-filled pen that we think is going to help us because the government says, oh, this is vaporized and you're going to be great, and have that or a government-made oil. We need to know, we have to have choice, have variety. Some people can't smoke a vaporized pen that is done with CO2. They need it done different ways because the cough reaction, the reaction to their lung, everybody has different reaction to solvents.
I want to bring this up. We have Oasis right now in New York State.
And I love this program.
And I'm not a fan of Oasis at all.
No, this is what we discussed where you said
right. I'm not a fan of Oasis at all.
We had brought this up on your show.
Oasis is basically the government organization that decides what people can do to, be fixed from their addiction problem. Right. How can they recover? Oasis decides what's right and what's wrong. That's silly. Everyone is different. People are different. So as you said, some people use vaping perfectly and some people don't. It depends on the individual. So how is Oasis supposed to know what's going to work for you, what's going to work for you and for you and for you? We don't know. Oasis, again, they want to have a stamp. If they want to be a repository for information, I don't have a problem with that. But the fact that they can say, no, yours doesn't work, yours does work, no, that's okay, no, that's not okay. Why does that even exist? That has to go away. People need to find the right answers. To your point, for some people, X is going to work. For some people, Y is going to work. And guess what? What if I try X and it fails? If I'm trying to get clean, that's a good thing. Let me fail until I find the next thing. Some people, it takes 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 times before they're clean. And I'd rather it take 10 times than never.
And I'd rather offer them any alternative that they have. Let them make the decision. What's going to get you? What got you on drugs may get you off. You know what I'm saying? You know what got you there, so you might have a little bit of good idea of what's going to get you.
Oh, your family and friends might know too. But if they're in your world, the people who are now in your world might know you well if they go, you know what?
It's just a situational change or something like you're saying. Right. Because then like you're saying, that's where that personal connection comes in. You have to keep that person to you. And I think, like he's saying, the best way to do that is offer an alternative where people don't mind people. Because like you say, if there is an opiate available or there is an opiate, a person that is on us, we shelter ourselves, we come depressed, we live in a bed, we say our legs hurt. Well, our legs didn't hurt when our back was hurting. How come my legs hurt now? So we're taking these things that are just making us have phantom pains and making us. I always sat back and said, I started out on 10 milligrams of Percocet. How did I end up on 30 milligrams of Percocet, 150 milligrams of morphine? And 60 to 30 milligrams of Percocet 6 times a day, mind you, not just once. That was my breakthrough pain. Well, my God, I wasn't in that much pain when I started. I thought the pain medication was supposed to lower the pain I was in. Once we start realizing we're feeling the effects of the medicine killing us and dehydrating us and causing atrophy in our muscle, this is the things that the drug is stealing from us. Smoking weed or vaporizing weed or taking an oil, and a lot of times even just a CBD, or eating an edible. And like you're saying, everything works different for everybody, but the same plant works. It's just how you ingest it. How you ingest it and what you need to ingest. Once again, there are many people that don't need THC, will never need THC within their spectrum. Do we recommend it? Yes, because I recommend the whole plant. I think the whole plant is valuable to us. THC isn't just to get you high. Don't think it's that. THC it helps us in our brain, in our thought process, helps us neurologically. Absolutely, shrink. Without THC, you can't shrink
But
a
if we, as you said, deschedule this,
Yes.
decriminalize it,
Yes.
and then change the culture,
Yes.
there will be enough information out there to where you can actually look at a person's background, maybe even genetically,
Yeah.
and you'll begin to know what are the best odds for this person.
That's
You'll
right.
know, here's your background, here's who you are, what you've done, here's your family history, here's your genetics. You know what? The odds are these two things will work for you.
Mhm.
And the doctor can now say, why don't you try these two ways?
Right.
That will begin
Right.
to happen.
Here's this for this and this for
Bingo,
this.
exactly.
Right.
That will
And
begin to happen once we change the culture and decriminalize.
Right. And then availability too. Like we get asked all the time in the industry. Anybody that's in the industry, well, what can I take for this? What's the best strain for this? Well, good. I'll take the best strain for it. Where are you gonna fly to Colorado tomorrow to buy it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you know what I'm saying? Like seriously,
from?
when you have it available, but that's what happens. What
Right.
he's saying, like with opening up the market and making it available, growers will grow different strains.
Yes.
People will bring in different, because what works for you doesn't work for me. There's indica strains, there's indica strains, there's sativa strains, and there are hybrid strains that are a mix of sativa and indica, depending on what percentages may be. You may 60% to a 40% in a plant. But the plants are so individual and offer so many different varieties, and each plant is different. We will never know that or understand that unless we're afforded the opportunity to open that up. Decriminalization is really a huge step in this.
Absolutely.
If a person knows that they can treat, I hate the word treating illegally. Listen, if it's going to keep me alive, it's as legal as it can possibly get in my book. How can I, you know what I mean?
Right.
Where am I going to be if I'm not alive? I can call it
That's
legal,
right.
call it not legal, call it what you want. But the fact of the matter is that if we're afforded the opportunity to treat, people will understand and notice. People will be happier because they'll be less miserable. People will be more energetic. We will get people off the couches. People will return to the workforce. People do anything. There's a lot of people say, Peter, you're disabled. How do you keep going? Well, my mouth works. And that's what I'm using, like I had to adapt. I was a tree man. I fell off a tree, broke my back. What'd I do next? Heck, man, I like people. I can talk to people, and I went into sales. I worked for every big company you could possibly think of, right? Well, then again, now getting sick again, I can't, but to put in hours in a day is tough. So what can I use? I use my mouth. And in using my mouth, I'm glad. Look, we get great people like this to sit in front of y'all. We get great people like this to take interest in, in just the groups we have. Listen, today was a tough day. It's Monday, Friday, at 2 o'clock to noon, It's hard, right? Whatever it takes. She knows. Denise knows me because it could be Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday. It don't matter to me. I don't know what day of the week it is, time of the day it is. Helen will tell you. She'll go, I'll go, Helen, is it Thursday? And she'll go, yeah. She'll go, why? You don't care. Don't matter to me if it's Thursday or Monday, we do what we can do. But so, it's hard, but that's why social media, again, is important. We're getting this out. Our blog talk, everybody streams back to it. The show will be heard all over here. It was just hard to get some of the other groups here, but we're glad that Larry still is taking the time to come, because I think it's important that, that's recognized, that, he could have walked in and said, oh my God, there's 20 people, I can get the hell out of here quick, and beat feet real quick before they sit me down for 2 hours and have to pick at me, and I got to do this again in another 4 hours for someone else.
Yeah, you've been a busy man. I've been following you like crazy.
I'm the next stop is Utica.
Right. We were hoping.
You got caught in the back of a truck somewhere?
Like we truly tried to have you later because we do our class here.
Tonight
we're teaching the endocannabinoid system and CBDs. And if anybody wants to come, look, we do have people here that already come. But we are right.
All my friends are working.
Right. At night we do. We get our people here. But I want to tell you something about those meetings. And so you can just get a feel still how culture and government and everything affects us all. During our class, we have some people, and I never mention names or anything else, have to say, listen, I got a government job. So I can't do this, or I can't speak up, or if they knew I was here, or that, what can we do do you think here in New York to raise that awareness that you don't have to be afraid?
Yeah, and there's a couple things. Once the governor starts saying, why are you firing people for smoking marijuana? Just saying that openly, because when the governor says that, it will make news.
Right.
Right? When the governor says that,
Yes.
it will make news. But I talk about the idea of being the marketer in chief, using the bully pulpit to say what is right and what is wrong. First thing. Then, how about we start pardoning people who had a plant in their pocket? We start doing that. I'm telling the culture, stop. I'm telling the prosecutors, stop. Stop doing this. It is not a crime to have a plant in your pocket. It's not a crime to smoke marijuana. It should not be a crime to do these things. When you start doing that, all of a sudden the culture begins to change. But what's happening already, we're seeing it already in a small area. Smaller companies, the more nimble companies, most successful smaller companies, don't care if you smoke marijuana at all. They're not doing drug testing anymore.
Right.
No drug testing. It's already starting to happen already. The trend
Right,
is
if you
happening.
have an accident at work, or you're in an incident at work, or you get hurt at work, and then you will get drug tested,
Yes.
and heaven forbid.
That's correct. Yes, that's an issue, right? That's when it becomes a problem. But you are seeing it beginning to happen. But as you begin to say, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? And telling people, don't do it. The answer here is changing culture through being the marketer in chief, through using the bully pulpit. That is the answer. Because when it happens enough, people start agreeing and showing up. And then the assembly people look at it and go, whoa, my people support this.
Well, I think the
I
biggest
better
thing is
support
you're
this
pointing
too.
out. I think the biggest thing you're pointing out is erasing the fear. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like, there's that fear, and if you have that fear, who's going to do it? And especially as we have things, and as we evolve as adults, we have more to lose. We have everything from reputation to home. And unfortunately over a plan.
And look, we want to make sure that something else happens to people in this whole time. They say, Larry, when you start pardoning these people, you're pardoning all these criminals. They're doing bad things. And what I'm telling them is, look, if you rob a liquor store, you should go to jail for robbing a liquor store. But they rob these liquor stores for drugs. I don't care why he robbed the liquor store. Whether he wanted the liquor, he wanted drugs, he hates liquor. I don't care why he robbed the liquor store. He was bored. I don't really care what his reason was. Just because you do it for drugs doesn't make it not a crime, right? If you're robbing for drugs, you should be prosecuted for robbing. But if we stopped people early on, they wouldn't get to the point of robbing. They get to the point of robbing because they've lost everything. If they hadn't lost anything, they wouldn't resort to robbing. So if we stop them early, there will be no crime, right? Do we put someone in jail because someone gambles their entire life away? No. We put them in jail if they rob for their gambling problem, which we should put them in jail for robbing for your gambling problem. But if you want to live in squalor because you can't stop betting on the horses, that's not a crime.
Right.
That's a problem, and I hope your family can help you, but that's not a crime. We decide that if there's a drug involved, all of a sudden that's a crime. No, it's a problem, and I hope your family will help you out of that also.
And I can understand it in some cases if the drug could hurt you, kill you, or harm you. But when you're talking about cannabis, it can't do any of those things. So how is that? And that's what the sense of a victimless crime is there's no victim except for the person being persecuted for something that isn't acceptable by his government.
Well,
and that's weird.
No, I gotta tell you, there is one victim, and the victim actually is Big Pharma.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they are getting less profits off of this. Come on, they're only a multi-billion-dollar business. I'm concerned.
Absolutely. Probably. I mean, listen, the gravest thing that we ever did in this country was to just forget about our rights, guys.
Yeah.
We have them, and we have rights.
But we allowed Big Pharma to keep us fat, lazy, and drug addicted for a little too long.
Well, and then again,
remember a very
separating
important
law from morality.
Yes.
Separating law from morality. If you're
Exactly.
sitting in a jury and because you might not have been told, you do have there is a legal process called jury nullification.
New York State, they front it. The judges literally say you can't do it.
Right, but
Yes.
they do. But it's a legality we have in your corner. Whereas if a written law is broken, we understand it's a written law. We understand it's broken. But if it's for a moral reason, there's no immorality behind it. If there's no crime behind it, or there's no ill intent behind it, how can we convict something? There's some limit. Say you've got the cannabis patient at home. He's growing his cannabis. He's just treating himself. He's not selling bags of weed out his door. He's not doing this, that, and the other thing. But the neighbor don't like the fact that he smells weed growing or smells weed being smoked or whatever else in his house. And he calls the cops on the guy, and the guy comes in and gets busted. Now, he can't grow legally in his state because it's against the law to grow legally in his state. Now, he's not doing anything. He's treating his health conditions. He's no longer going to the doctor 6 times a month. He's no longer spending tons and tons of money in emergency rooms and pumping up and pumping up insurance costs and this, that, and the other thing. He's not doing any of that. And now all he's doing is treating at home and feeling better and making himself healthy. But yet he, unlike the guy that maybe molested the child and the 2 doors down might get probation, is going to jail from 20 years to life in some cases.
Yeah.
People that get convicted of cannabis don't go to jail for 30 days. They go to jail for years, sometimes decades. Sometimes they're never afforded the opportunity to get out of jail. And it may not be for anything other than trafficking, having cannabis in and moving it from one place to another. They may have been growing. They're not hurting anybody, and their lives, right? And their lives, and their families' lives, and their children, and everybody that's connected with them is affected by this. People aren't always doing this to make millions of dollars, people.
Let me tell you, most of the drug dealers are the ones that are sitting home with the prescriptions, because a lot of them.
Who's going to sell pot when it's legal? What drug dealer is going to
taking
sell a legal drug? What drug dealer is selling legal drugs? Because believe me, I don't think any of them are out there pushing vitamin C. If you can get it and and it's in your possession, what the hell you need a drug dealer for? Like he's saying, there's your black market. You know, if you keep pumping the prices up and you keep taxing and you keep jamming it, yeah, you're going to create the black market. But if you're fair, you're spread out, if everyone has opportunity, prices balance and prices go, everybody's happy. And everybody
but this
can be
is
healthy.
even in the medical community. If you look at this, and I'll give you the example. Again, everything I'm saying has already happened. Look at cosmetic surgery, right? You go back 30, 40 years with cosmetic surgery, only wealthy people got cosmetic surgery.
Right.
That was it. It was expensive. Now everyone does it. Why? Because when you don't have the government involved and just the consumers decide, people see there's value. And all of a sudden, technology goes up, service goes up, prices come down.
Right.
That's happened in dental dental surgery. It's happened in cosmetic surgery. It's happened with your LASIK eye surgery. It happens again and again and again. And now they have with those
because you go down the street,
those cochlear
implants.
Yeah, those are now happening. They used to be super expensive.
Yeah.
And they're coming down and down and down and down and down. That will happen with marijuana also. Of course it will. The price will come down, the quality will get better, and there'll be more options. You said there'll be different ways of consuming it will happen. You see it already in Colorado.
Absolutely. And again, it's just how people benefit. You have to remember, cannabis has to be absorbed into our system. We all have a different metabolism. Our body's metabolisms are all different. So I'm going to metabolize cannabis differently, and he is going to differently. My wife is going to, or differently than any of you have to. So there has to be variety. There has to be different choices for us. And everything he's talked about points towards all of that, or the availability of it, just even simply by decriminalization. Why? Because people will feel more comfortable. If you have the law and you have that fear, as we were just saying a little while ago, and everything is that your decision that you're based on is based upon punishment, then
well, let's realize something. In this country, it's very rare that government simply takes your rights. Almost always, we eagerly vote them away because we're afraid. Almost always. There's some exceptions where the government just overnight takes stuff. But usually we go, I'm afraid, take my rights. I'm afraid, take my rights. I'm afraid, take my rights. That's what we do all the time. The drug war is no different. I'm afraid, take my rights away, right? And the problem is, I'm happy voting people's rights away as long as it's not me. Right? As long as it's not me. Oh, wait a minute, you can't arrest me. I'm a good guy. Oh, but the war on drugs got me too. Oh, this war on drugs sucks. Well, now it does, but you voted for guys who've been running it for 20 years.
That they're making the same decisions over and over, not changing nothing and whatever else.
You can't blame them when you keep voting them in.
That's right.
Every time that they keep doing it, and you keep checking the box, they keep doing it, and now you're mad.
So with that all being said, what does our future look like with you?
You mean
What is our
regarding
future?
cannabis or just in general?
No, in general. I want to know
just
what
in general,
our
Larry,
future
good.
looks like
Absolutely.
with you as our governor.
100%. For the first time, we're going to have real reform. Real reform in New York State. We have not had that in 30 years. I don't mean on the sides tweak things. I mean changing culture in this state. There will be some disruption. That's going to happen. There will be something's going to be shaken up. That's going to happen. But it will be individual counties that we will then protect.
Okay.
The difference is, off the bat, it's a culture change in that, again, I want counties to be freer. Here's an example. Right now, we have mandates from both the state and the local on every given county. Most counties, if you go to your county legislature, you start talking about your county meeting, what we're going to do in our budget. 5 to 10% is all you can work with. The other 90 to 95% is already mandated. It's already mandated.
Right.
You can't do anything except 5 or 10%.
Right.
All the time. How about instead, no? How about instead, no mandates? If you want to provide pre-K, go ahead, not mandated. If you want to provide all aspects of Medicaid, Medicare, go ahead, no mandate. If you want to hire teachers who don't have all the qualifications, go ahead, no mandate. I'm not saying you can't do it. If your school system's working, please keep going on.
Right.
But we have school systems that have a 40% graduation rate.
Right.
I don't care what else you want to do.
Right.
We want to have a dog come in and jump around. I don't care.
Jeez Louise.
Right.
Listen.
But are you pulling it for me?
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. Good, yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Sorry. Okay. Now I just
He's
saw
going
that.
like he's going. He's
Okay. That's what it was. Thank you. Okay. Good. Okay. I saw him giving sign language. Okay. That's what it was. Now, what am I doing? Is that wrong?
Yeah, like he's got a piece of
chicken.
He's getting a director's cut. Yeah.
Okay. Good. So anyway, that's okay. No worries. What I'm saying here is, so I want to allow that. And what that means is, if you look at certain local city places, city councils, and certain areas, you have trouble finding people who will even be part of the government.
Right.
They won't show. The person who gets elected is the person who shows up. I'm not joking, because no one will care. Why? You're not doing anything. So no one votes. Why does it matter if you vote? Because half your county is being run by Albany or Washington anyway. But if all of a sudden now, you have to vote if you want to change your teachers. You have to vote if you want to increase property taxes. Right now, by the way, the reason why we get around property taxes all the time being raised here in New York State, because you don't have to vote for them. The council can decide on its own. Every other property, every other tax, the people vote on. This one, no, behind closed doors. That will go away also.
Good.
So you want your property tax raised,
Good.
you must vote on it if you want
That's
it.
right.
That's how we always get around that 2% cap, because we don't vote for it. They do. Now here's the problem. If only 4, 5, 8 people show up, and the only time anyone else ever shows up is when they're mad, I'm mad about something, so I show up, it becomes an us versus them mentality.
Right.
And that's happening throughout our entire state.
Yes.
So they start thinking, we're the smart people who run things. You guys want to show up when you're angry. To hell with you. We know what's right. And that's been happening to our state for decades. That will go away, because here's the issue. Now, if you want certain things in your county, you have to show up and vote for them, which means now people will show up. Right now, people don't show up. Not just that, about 70% of New Yorkers don't vote. They don't show up. We have learned helplessness. I will change that. You want stuff to happen in your world, show up. If you show up, you get better candidates, you get better leadership, you get people locally involved.
That's right.
That's what I want to have. That is the culture
That's right.
change I'm talking about that will happen in New York State.
Right. Don't complain about the rich making your decisions and allowing the rich to make the decisions.
Yes. Yes.
There's a heck of a lot more of us than there are there,
But the
man.
problem is right now, the government system makes this happen.
Yes.
There is no need to do it.
Right.
So instead, make that happen. Well, Larry, will some people not want to have pre-K in their county? Some might not. But guess what? We're going to add something else. We're going to add the idea of people and communities helping themselves. There are several ideas here. One of them being what's called a charitable choice credit. It's the idea that every individual can give part of what would be taxes to a charity. $250 anywhere they want to stay, plus $250 within their county, hoping you will give more to your county.
Right.
So what happens if you give that money to a charity in your county? Now charities aren't lobbying the government to run something, crony capitalism. Instead, charities are lobbying you, consumers. Hey, we can provide good health care. Why don't you give your money to us That's your tax money anyway.
Mhm.
So if you were to give $500 to them, you now don't pay that in taxes. So if I choose to not have certain types of benefits in my county, the people who want them can choose charities and nonprofits to do so without adding, again, the lobby to the government. I want to erase that lobby. What we know for a fact, this is demonstrable, charities who rely on government grants have up to 3% or more administrative staff, and they are less effective. It's a fact. Those who are private have more. Why? Because if you go to a government lobby, you lobby the government gives you check boxes. So your customer is the government, not your constituents.
Right.
So as long as you check the boxes, you're good. If you're actually providing service, who cares?
Right.
But when I'm actually making sure you give me the money, you're not giving me money unless I'm providing results.
Right.
You don't care about checking a box. You want results. So it also provides the market, allowing people to be good or bad, not just whoever wins the bid, right? It's whatever charities or nonprofits you want to use. So that's another step. There's another step though on top of that. We have two other issues here that help a lot of people in New York State. Again, people in New York State, there's many counties where 1/3 of the counties are Medicaid, 1/3 of the counties are Medicare, and how is it possible to be sustainable?
Right.
With only 1/3 of the population, with a dwindling population.
Right.
One of the reasons is people get on some kind of public assistance and they can't get off. Because when they get on public assistance, whether it's disability or something else, once you make past a certain amount of money, all your benefits go away.
Right.
So it doesn't make any sense to restart your career. I'd rather just stay home.
Right.
Not just that, what if you actually have kids that can't afford childcare? So instead, we're considering an idea. In New York State right now, if you're a small business owner, you have to have two types of workers' comp. One is for job-related, one is for non-job related.
Right.
Non-job related is silly that we even have that as a mandate. That should be up to an employer and employee. That should go away. Instead, we should have an insurance that is a disability insurance. This insurance plan is if you go on disability or something like that, this plan will kick in once you make too much money, and it will pay you for every $2 you make over it, you lose $1 disability.
Right. So it's
Which means that you can now grow yourself back out of disability and get off the dole. You get off the dole if you want to. Now, get me wrong. Some people don't want to work. They're not going to work no matter what I do.
Right.
There's a lot of people who would love to get back into the workforce.
Absolutely.
Who would love to gain their manhood back, their womanhood back, their adulthood back, and start making some money and being productive. Lots of people would. Well, here's an opportunity. But I have a second piece. All right. Do you have kids?
Oh, yeah.
All right. That's my daughter right there, by the way. Barbara's my daughter. So you're going to the park today, and I said, do me a favor. Would you please take my daughter to the park? Is that okay? Would you do that?
Of course.
Wonderful. Does she require a license?
No.
No. She requires insurance?
No.
No, not at all. If she wants to take my daughter to the park, she can. Right? Absolutely. So I'm going to create the idea of county level child gardens. Not child care. That's different. That's regulated. This is child gardens. They'll be sponsored by some type of nonprofit, maybe a VFW, who could sure use the revenue, who could sure use the publicity. Maybe in poor neighborhoods, maybe a local church that's suffering. The black church is notoriously suffering. Perhaps that would be a great place to cover that. A child garden. If you want to, it's limited liability. You sign off, drop your kid off.
Right.
You will drop it off with charities or nonprofits that you trust.
Right.
Whatever ones you trust.
Right.
Do you trust the VFW? Do you trust your local church? Do you trust some local nonprofit? Do you trust the Rotary Club?
Right.
What do you trust?
Right.
If you trust, you drop your child off. It becomes cheap childcare, and in many cases, perhaps even free.
That's right.
Cheap childcare available.
And especially most places, like you're saying, charitable organizations and non-for-profits are
right.
donation-driven anyway.
That's
They can't
correct.
just take it.
That is correct. So it won't be for profit. And if you say, "Whoa, I'm scared. I only want to go to a licensed childcare facility," please go.
Right.
They still exist.
Right.
Doesn't put them
Right.
away. Do what you feel is correct. But maybe you say, I want to change my life again. I want to restart my life. And I got on disability, or I got on public assistance, and I can't get off because I have a kid. I can't do this.
Right.
Child gardens, disability insurance, New Yorkers get a second chance. I want a second chance. And it happens locally without extra taxpayer dollars. The critical aspect is no extra taxpayer dollars. This is what I'm talking about. We can get services, we can have people come back to their communities, and want to stay in this state without that.
Well, plus, Larry, that puts the responsibility back in the parents' lap too, that we've taken away from. So, they're used to just going and driving. Now you have to make a decision. And you're making a decision about your child. You're making a decision about. It involves
Absolutely.
the parent
That's how it
again,
should be.
which makes the child
That's
feel like
right.
the parent's involved, which again shows somebody loves you, which again
Absolutely.
stops this big vicious cycle that we have.
And can actually help those suffering nonprofits.
That's
Have you
right,
seen what's up?
absolutely.
The American Legion suffering,
Mhm.
the
Oh,
VFW
yeah.
suffering. This is suffering.
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't you love to drop your kids off with a bunch of grandmas, grandpas? I would.
Yeah.
I totally would. Absolutely.
Of
course I would, yes.
Mhm.
So, but what happens if people are bad guys? Well, they can be bad guys everywhere. number one.
Everywhere.
But hold on.
You're
let me ask you.
making the choice. You're not going to go
But not
drop your
just
kid
that.
off in a bed.
You're in a VFW, and there's a bad guy in the VFW.
Mhm.
What's going to happen to that bad guy?
No, the rest of the VFW is going to whoop the
That's exactly correct. That guy's not lasting long at all.
That's
But
right.
that's
That bad
that's
guy
just
lasts
not.
5 minutes.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's it. Absolutely. We all know this to be true. That's absolutely
You
true.
know, it's such a pleasant thing to hear because whatever happened to the fact that just like, listen, everything has to be a war or a suing or a trouble like this. Whatever happened, just smack and somebody was like, just shut the hell
Political
up.
correctness.
I'm not going to go there. I'm not going there. You asked what it would look like, and that's what I'm talking about. But I'm going even further. I'm going even further with this, though. As I want to devolve it back to the counties to the best of my ability. I want to involve people back in the local community so they can become better and learn and actually become not just let's create more programs, but instead let's create the right programs that
That's
work
right.
well.
And understand
Yes,
how
yes,
things
yes.
work and move
Yes.
and flow through
Programs.
government.
Which will also save money because people won't be on the door. But on top of it, increase revenue because more people will be working
Right.
without having to raise taxes.
Right.
But in addition, I want to also solve our other problems with new ways. What I talked about before is I want to start selling naming rights to bridges. So
Okay.
instead of us naming the Mario Cuomo Bridge after our aristocracy,
Right, exactly.
instead we have to Staples or Kellogg's or J&J or M&M or whatever, I don't care what it is.
Right.
These guys spend billions of dollars every year marketing. Well, I have an idea for you. Stop wasting time on Facebook and YouTube.
Mhm.
Put your name on my bridge.
Right.
Because
Right.
my bridge, if it's in New York City specifically, 12 bridges just run by the MTA only, just the MTA,
Wow.
right? Now we have millions of people who are going by 60 million people hearing the name of your company and the name of your product or service every morning. On the Verizon bridge or the Staples bridge is good or bad, but not just that. You don't want potholes on that bridge. You don't want people saying your bridge is crappy.
Mhm.
You're responsible for the maintenance.
Mhm.
When you're responsible for maintenance, are you going to put up with 3 months to build this thing? You're not, because you're paying for it. Again, the government contract goes away because if Sprint owns it, Sprint decides how it's fixed.
That's right.
They're not going to worry about lobbyists. The lobbyists go away. The corruption goes away.
That's good.
I don't want this petri dish of
Yes.
corruption. Sprint decides how it's fixed, but more importantly, no tolls. You want to save the average person money?
Mhm.
You're in tolls.
Yeah.
The rich people of Manhattan, they don't go outside. They're not paying tolls, right?
If they do, they're just, if they do, they're coming up here vacationing and helping our economy anyway in
And the
summer.
company pays for tolls.
Yeah.
But yes, but the point being that will change how that works.
Right.
So now we raise money, again, raising money to solve our issues without taxpayer dollars. That's the issue. We do that right. We work on raising money. We actually work on cutting our Medicaid, Medicare expenses. We fix our pension bomb. With those 3 things, within 4 years, we can eliminate the state income tax.
See, that's good.
That's the goal. We eliminate state income tax. I've just given every New Yorker a 4 to 8% raise.
Absolutely,
Again,
absolutely.
without raising taxes, and no small business has to spend any extra money. So we do all those things. I want original ideas. I want to change our prison system. I actually want to get, if you're a small business and you hire a felon, I don't want you to pay any payroll tax for 2 years on that felon. None. But wait a minute, Larry, then people just hire felons every 2 years and just never pay payroll tax. Good, you're training my felon population. Please do that. That would be amazing. I really hope you pick up that model. Please do that. Then they won't be going back to jail. We'll be paying for them anymore. That'd be awesome. But not just that, in jail, I'm going to come up with what's called the CREW idea, which is community reform units. These will be picked and selected by correctional officers. My father's a big correctional officer. And I've heard many of them in the union now tell me that they feel like, many correctional officers feel like they're zookeepers. I don't want them feeling that way. I want them feeling like they're actually making a difference. Now, they know their inmates more than anybody. They know some of these guys should not leave prison. They know that. And they know lots of them should leave prison. So they will help us to select people to come into these specific community groups. This is based on something, again, already being done in Massachusetts called the Humvee program, specifically for military veterans. right? They put them in, they go through this process run by 1 or 2 COs and a bunch of volunteers, and they get released early in work release. We'll do the same thing for individual prisons, but the COs will tell me what are the right communities. Right. Is it people who've had trauma? Is it people who come from certain ethnic backgrounds? Is it people who are gang members? Is it people who have addiction issues? I don't know, but they do. They know the communities that are required to be put together and the guys who should be part of those communities.
Right.
So they will help us to use this. Two COs and volunteers to get people out. The recidivism rate for those in the Humvee program is between 4 and 10%.
Okay.
The average is over 70.
Wow.
Huge difference.
Huge
difference.
Oh yeah.
I want that to be how we deal with our prison system. Again, raising no taxes.
Right.
Wow. And getting more people a second chance. I want New York State to be a second chance state. That's important. Excellent. Did I give you a good idea?
You certainly did.
Does anybody out here have any questions for Larry personally? I mean, that we might not have covered, or anything that you guys would like to know?
I want to know why the onion farm?
Because
Is that what we're known for?
I'll tell you why. Because I'll tell you why. I'm happy to tell you. I first came up with this idea. I was up in the Rochester area. And there were a lot of onion farms in Rochester.
He's in Blackburn,
that's why.
yeah.
I'm
Yes.
born and raised on Blackburn.
Yeah.
So that's why I came up with it.
Raised here in Orange County, and it's well known for its blackberry.
That's
Yes.
right. Pine Island.
Yes.
Pine Island.
Because when I came up with the idea, I was upstate. I was in Western Central New York when I came up with the idea.
But
That's why
really
onions.
sad though, Larry, is that anything that you said about the farmers is so true, because now all of our local onions are really shipped in from Texas.
Yes.
Yes.
There we go.
So sad.
It is. It is.
All right, guys, I have to run.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you.
Yes,
Larry,
thank you
for
so
us.
much.
And please, thank you
Please,
so much
we
for
want to
coming.
also make you an honorary member of the Human Solutions.
Oh, thank you.
Please, that's our solidarity
Thank you.
ribbon that
Thank you so
identifies
much.
us. And
Thank you
we
so
do
much.
appreciate your time, sir. And
We
everybody, thanks.
Thank you.
Larry again this
Thank you,
afternoon.
guys. Thank you.
Nice meeting you, honey.
Good luck.
So.
Hello,
Hey, everybody. Hey, Cwt TV. We're here, like we said, we're at the 2nd annual Lackawaxen, Pennsylvania Music Festival. Let me tell you what, they're doing 5
Some
gigs
good
here.
music playing, man. They're
Woo.
getting ready for it, and holy crap, it's bringing me back.
Oh yeah, I just had two girls on that were, I mean, like
bringing me
harmonized beautifully. It was great. Well, listen, we're gonna interview like all the bands. We're gonna have them back here. We're gonna call this our backstage area.
Back here with no shoes on,
Just relaxing.
chilling and earthing.
That's right. Hey, listen, what better thing to do, man? Support your community. Come on out. It's a lot of fun. I wish you all could be here or could have been here. It's a $40 date. Bands have been playing all day. They're going to play through
come
the
and
night.
support.
Good food. Oh, man, it's great stuff. Well, hey, listen, we're going to also promote another production that's going to be going on, another local production. We met some people here that are putting it on. We're going to
Our
interview them
neighbors.
as well. Yeah. Good old hippie folk just like us, so it should be a good fun
Neighbors.
time. He's what the guy said. He said, hey, we'll all just sit down together. I'm sure it'll be great. So it should
It
be.
will be.
Okay, awesome. Well, again, Cwt TV, Ellen, Pete, Yapel. I don't know if Nikki's in the shop, but if she's not, she's sitting right over there. And thanks again to James for always being there to run the camera and all the support these guys both give us. Hey, listen, we'll be reporting and doing clips throughout the day, and you'll see some things, man, here that are just, I mean, like the Kashmir Plays, man, best Zeppelin cover band you'll ever hear, man. They were just warming up and doing a sound check over there. Great. All right, till later, everybody.
Y'all feeling good? Nice to get up in the country. It took us 2 hours to get out of New York and about 30 minutes to get over here. So, nice to be up here. Yeah, I like it. I'm liking it a lot. Yeah.
Who's the rock and roll?
Y'all ready to go?
Second.